for casually promoting something that's not completely viable. What I mean by that is that I usually check it out and look at the details when purchasing or when looking to purchase something, whether I use it in class or use it for whatever work. But I can tell you that some products may or may not work well for some people. Ultimately, it depends on the person using the product. And that's what's tricky about using tarot cards. It's not the cards themselves that are faulty, it's whether the person who's using them is skillful at using them. No different from driving a taxi car, right? Because they're usually driving around a dependable car for that sort of job, but whether they'll get you there on time depends on how knowledgeable they are about the city streets. One route may get them to their destination on time or late, depending on the time of day and traffic, but another possible route may get them there even earlier. It may even be faster, depending on the time of day and traffic on that particular route. But what I mean by this is that for some, reading tarot cards can be smooth sailing. For others, there may be some blunders along the way, but you'll eventually get there. You'll eventually get to your destination. So there are obstacles to consider when using the tarot cards. Let's discuss those today. I want to thank you so much for stopping by our channel, Metaphysical Awakening. My name is Aya, and I work alongside my mom, Hitomi. We work together on our website, and we also work together in consultations. And if you're interested in a consultation with us, feel free to check out our website. Our website is www.metaphysicalawakening.com, and I'll make sure to leave a link of that below in the description so that you can book a consultation with us from there, or you can email us directly at metaphysicalawakening@gmail.com. So we very much look forward to hearing from you soon. Our website includes information on the basic concepts of metaphysical, what we experience from time to time. Remember, meta means beyond, so what we're basically getting into here is what we would describe as beyond the physical. So let's look at our 5 physical senses, such as touch, sight, hearing, taste, and smell. Now, we use them every day to help us get around, to communicate, and basically survive. But what of those other senses we have that catch what would seem to be out of the norm, such as hearing something that seems to be inaudible to most people, or getting the feeling of a presence around you and being able to determine if it's a loving presence or a nasty one? Or what about when you feel the sense of being followed in the street, even though you never even looked back to check and see? Or perhaps you looked back several times because you have this odd feeling that someone is looking over your shoulder. Hey, boo-boo and Calypso. Well, what do you make of that? These are, examples of what we consider metaphysical. And we hope you like what you can take from our website and what you gather from our channel here, Metaphysical Awakening. Now, if you're new to this channel and you're interested in contents like this and many others, feel free to subscribe to our channel and click the like button if you like the videos. Basically this allows our channel to grow, and therefore we're very thankful for your support in that way. And we want to thank you for also taking this time to stop by our website. So but anyways, I'll go ahead and continue. As I gather my cards to do a reading session or a brief one for one of my friends or family member, I notice the calmness around me. It's my quiet time, my time and space to be alone with myself and peacefully read into the question or information that's gathered before me to present to an individual who I'm doing a reading for. And it only takes seconds for me now. Before it took much longer. But now I can usually just tell the person immediately as I hold up the card. Most times the information comes before the card is even pulled. But what's going on as I'm sitting there calmly reading the pieces of information together? Well, let's have a metaphysical look into this. Basically, as I have, made that decision to do a card reading, whether that's for myself or for someone else, or even when looking into a situation, I put myself in a very calm state. And it's easy to recognize that calmness in the mind because by that time, I'm seeing images and information before me. And once you achieve that state, then you're in a good place. You're allowing the images to display themselves before you, meaning you're open to them. Now, as I sit there calmly looking at the images and taking in the information, I think to myself, okay, am I receiving them from my guides or from other spirits who may come around and chill, or has someone come to give information about someone or something? Because, there are spirits from everywhere. That's one thing you will absolutely learn from this experience. They may be your family members who are on the other side. They may be a friend who recently passed away. Maybe a neighborly person who just happens to be watching you and notice something important that they must tell you. It could be anyone, really. So it's good to always check. But your primary source of information comes from your spirit guides. They are directed to be by your side for any necessary guidance in your life. And if you are open to communicating with them, whether consciously or unconsciously, they will put ideas into your head to help you out and, basically guide you with the tasks you may have in mind. So whether you're good at, tarot card reading or not, know that in the end, you'll always get the message. Just like the taxi driver, they'll reach their destination. Perhaps at the very beginning, it was completely off, not even related to the topic it's really about. You'll find out soon enough when something happens, that's what that particular card was all about. And that's okay. We live and we learn, so you can make plenty of mistakes reading a card, but eventually you'll see how it works like anything else. Now, what goes on as you are talking or receiving information from your guides or other spirits around you? Well, I see it like this. It's like being placed in a bubble of energy that protects the communication that goes on between you and your spirit guides. Usually they're talking to one spirit at a time, unless you're the type of person that is very chatty and you want to talk to a lot of people. And this is what typically takes place during a consultation. It's like being in a room full of people waiting for their turn to speak. So it can get pretty chatty. But in a tarot reading for yourself or other individuals, it's usually quieter. The bubble placed around you is to, in a sense, create like a secure channel so that you're not disturbed as you're gathering the information. Now, I find myself in a very quiet space as I do this. I'm calm, I feel good, energy's flowing through my core and my crown. So you'll see energy lit in the person as they're doing, the reading. And if you really want to crank that energy up to make it more free-flowing, try on an amethyst necklace or hold on to one. It's a very nice stone to open your crown and encourage your energy to pick up that spiritual guidance that you're looking for. Now, as you're gathering information, it's interesting what takes place. For some, they receive strong images played out from like thin air, as if something is projecting those images from somewhere, while others, it may be more heartfelt. They feel or receive emotions as their form of information, as they feel into a person and or situation around them. These two kinds of abilities are well known in the metaphysical field, but there are other, distinct abilities that people may not be aware of. For example, intuition. So some are very intuitive in what they do. They suddenly know what will take place in a situation. They may see raw footage of it playing out in their mind. What of those who can guess what the sex of a baby is just by intuitively feeling their way around? Some people are just good at it. They may suddenly have a bad feeling about a person or place for no reason, but of course there's always a reason. They just don't know it yet. But this is just one of the examples of a metaphysical ability that's used by some individuals doing a card reading. How about those who can do it by chanting? Well, what I mean by that is that by chanting out your name and then expressing how they feel about you and your situation. Never heard of it? Well, it's an old ancient practice. It's quite interesting, actually. What they do is chant out your name, as I said before, and feel into that name. See what is reflected by that name. See what plays out behind the scenes of that name. Your name carries your energy, and they interpret that energy as who you are. They can feel into the situation that the person sharing that name is dealing with, and basically give them what they need to know about the situation. Some names are more powerful than others in a sense. In the sense that the frequencies of each individual letter may ring at a higher pitch than others, but that's for another day. Anyways, that was an example of an ability which has to do with pitch, which carries frequencies, which is energy as well. And they have the ability to gather information from these frequencies or pitch. There are, many more ways around the world that I'm not aware of, which is why I'm, hitting on many different topics to learn more, right? But this can be a useful addition to a tarot card reading. Well, tarot cards have been around for many centuries. They were around during Roman times when it was more of a curiosity and something fun. It wasn't something that they seriously, that they took seriously or respected highly as one did when it came to palm readings, for example. But the cards were not like the way they are now. It's something that continually evolved during the centuries and it became more intricate with rules and techniques and so on. But they continue to offer insight into the person's given situation as they once did back then, as simple as they were. Some were good at it while others were not. Not everyone using them was, skillfully reading from them. But again, there were many who saw it as, fun and games, a form of entertainment really. It took ages before it became a normal practice and eventually, eventually a more reliable one at that. Remember, palm reading, as I went over in a video, it's a very ancient practice. So it was highly respected over tarot readings, for example, in those times. It takes time and practice to perfect your skills, one might say, but what of those who are new to it? Okay, should they give up as soon as they realize their reading's like way off? Of course not. I don't believe so. Again, it takes time and practice to open that channel or tune into what your guides or other spirits are communicating to you. They don't give up on you, neither should you give up on them. It can be frustrating though. It can be frustrating at times, and you may want to walk away from it, but give it a day or two and you'll soon realize what the card was really about. As soon as you're able to correlate the information from the card to what plays out before you, you'll see there's something to this. You just need to up your game, so to speak. Once you do that, you'll see a major gain from the experience. So don't be hard on yourself for getting it wrong. You know, it happens, myself included. Now, when I'm doing a card reading, sometimes a spirit interjects a word or two or a phrase, and it can throw me off or mislead me. Your guides and others that are around you, they do their best to create a secure space around you. But that doesn't mean that someone out to get you or just, you know, playing around won't try to infiltrate that safe space. So do your best to be aware of that and just move on if that happens. Don't let your mind fill up with negativity and doubt about yourself. This is part of the learning process and we've all been through it. Just move on and keep trying. Now, what happens when a spirit interrupts your reading? What can you do about it? Well, I'd like to offer my advice. Stick to it. Don't let it get you down. You're going to make mistakes regardless. How do you expect to know everything that you don't see? We don't see everything, but we can feel everything if you tune in just at the right frequency. It's important to keep yourself calm and grounded. Now, as you're feeling into the message for, you know, whatever guidance you're receiving, make sure you feel into, feel it into your heart. Okay, so I'm going to say it that way. Feel it into your heart. Visualize the experience of allowing that information to float around in your heart and see how it feels. That way you can gather if there's any truth to it and what their intentions are, and most importantly, what the meaning is. Sometimes you receive information or images when you're like, what the hell does that mean? Well, your heart will help fill in the gap. So the heart can be very useful when interpreting information or messages when they come in a visual form or when you catch words. So yes, words. What do you know? Some individuals can actually hear words or expressions, or they may actually hear someone talking to them. What a metaphysical experience, right? Clairaudience is what they would call it. Well, I, for one, am clairaudient, and at times I feel like I'm cheating, like for real. I do carry around this guilt that I'm basically listening and, you know, giving out the information. It makes the consults easier and smoother, but man, I feel guilty because I feel like I'm not doing all the work. I'm very independent when it comes to many aspects in my life. I would prefer to do things on my own. My mom usually reminds me of how when I was a really young child, I would tell her in Japanese, I can do it by myself. So I've always been this way. And I'm the same way about this. My guides and other family members and friends who are on the other side would remind me to stop feeling guilty about it. And what I'm basically doing is relaying messages or information like a messenger is all. But yes, clairaudience is an ability that's possible in some people, and I believe some may not even realize that they have that ability. Have you, and maybe there's more than a few of the viewers than we think, have ever one day just sat pondering on something, and suddenly you realize you're listening to a commercial in the background, or some radio advert playing in your head, or maybe even a song. I mean, a song that you didn't even intentionally, start singing or playing in your head. I believe this is an occasional experience of clairaudience. I don't believe clairaudience exclusively means hearing things from spirits on the other side, for example. I believe it also means catching, radio or television frequencies. Some people experience that and do not know why. It happens sometimes. One time I was on the phone talking to my mom, and I suddenly realized during a quiet moment that I could hear a man selling towels in Spanish. It was a radio advert, and I was like, Mom, I can hear a man's voice in my head selling towels, but in Spanish. So I couldn't understand everything he was, talking about. But anyways, it is an ability that can be used while doing tarot card reading. But just be careful. Just because you can hear voices doesn't mean you should be listening to all of them. So be aware of that. And one other thing, being able to hear sounds that are inaudible to most doesn't mean that you have some kind of mental disability. I mean, if that's the case, we would say all psychics have some sort of chemical imbalance of some kind. There are magnetic fields surrounding our brain for our own protection, and at times the magnetic fields around the brain can catch sonars or radio waves coming from a tower. So I will, make a video going further in depth on this very soon. And it's a very interesting topic, and there are scientific research on this matter. One thing I do want to add, because maybe there are some people who are wondering why I feel like it's cheating in my case. And I'm only expressing it personally, like myself. That's how I feel about it. And it's just because at the very beginning of practicing and using my abilities, I basically did everything on my own, including card readings and in consultation. So I was basically like on the grind on, accessing my abilities and using them to gather all the information that I could on my own with some help from spirits on the other side. But there came a point where all of a sudden the information was just boom, like right there, and little by little I started hearing words and then more words, and those words became sentences, and now it's basically, conversations throughout the day. So it made it made everything easier for me. So in that sense, all the hard work I was putting in before is a lot less. So I just wanted to explain that a little, but that doesn't mean that you should go with whatever you hear from spirits around you. You should still put the work into it to verify and confirm that what they are saying, and check their intentions. Also, do it to keep yourself updated with information through your own experiences. It's important to experience these things yourself to gain knowledge, and that's super important. You can easily be fooled by misinformation that you receive from spirits who may come and go. So I just wanted to make that clear, very clear for those who are new to this or are in that process of learning. Anyway, try using a deck of tarot cards or oracle cards or whatever you have access to, and see how it goes. Use the book or instructions that come along with it if you wish, and see what happens. Your guides, they know you're new at this. They expect you to misinterpret the cards. Don't worry. It's a learning process, so don't beat yourself up if you get it wrong. But trust me, when something happens that is strongly related to those cards, you're going to be like, what the? But I do find it therapeutic to spend time with my guides to get the necessary information I need. Seriously, who knows you best? Except of course your parents, your closest friends, your close family members, but your guides have been there throughout your life. They know your strengths and weaknesses, they know your faults, they know your desires, they know what makes you happy. You can always go to them for the realistic view of your stage in life. So go to them if you seek any guidance. As for us, my mom and I, we are happy to help you by offering consultations. I don't use tarot cards for consultations as much as I used to, but if you'd like me to pull cards for you and show you how I do it, I'd be happy to do so, of course. I find them to be, aesthetically beautiful and nice to have around the house. At times, some of my friends would like to have a therapeutic session with cards, and it's nice to have cards with you because when they see the image on the cards themselves, they are usually drawn to the beauty or uniqueness of the design and attach the message you give to it. That way they're absorbing the information much differently than just, receiving the information orally, I suppose. It creates an aesthetically unique environment when you do so. And there are some who do it with candlelights, which creates a beautiful calming ambiance and makes the occasion unique and special and very personal. Just be ready for a well-meaningful conversation. Some may spill their guts out and feel free and lighter when they leave from the experience. At times it's really needed. So try it yourself, and I would like to hear about your experiences with tarot cards. Have fun with them, and remember, don't get frustrated. If you do get frustrated, just move on. But you'll get it eventually. You'll get there. So thanks for stopping by our channel, and I wish you a wonderful day or evening wherever you are. Take deep breaths, hug a tree, or do some Tai Chi, whatever it is. Treat yourself to some grounding. Be happy and be kind to yourself and others. Take care, everyone. Bye.